When I was looking for ideas to set up a play space for my son, I found myself very inspired. But then I was thinking, I wish I had the space to set up a dedicated messy art room, or an indoor climbing wall, or those Waldorf play frames that are so beautiful. But I don't. And in the last year especially, that we have been spending so much of our time at home, we have realized that certain things work for us in terms of having a smaller space and setting it up in a way that we find the most enjoyment in. So I thought I'd share them with you. So hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Vidya and it has been a minute. I like to think of my son's play as having different forms and having different needs to express himself. And so his play space must cater to that. Now, children will find a way to play no matter how their space is. They will manage to play. But then their environment plays a huge role in how their mood is, how much they're stimulated, or if they're overstimulated, they could get grumpy, or if they haven't found a way to express themselves in a certain way that they need to, they might not be able to develop that skill. I came upon this idea of creating different play zones from another YouTube channel called The Parenting Junkie, and over the last couple of years we have adapted some of those concepts into our space. And if you have a smaller space like ours, I will be giving lots of options throughout this video for a smaller space as well as for a larger space. First thing is a central area. This is like the main launch pad of all their activities. You could have it in the middle of your living room or a playroom, or you could have it in a small corner of their bedroom. You could have a play mat like how we did, or you could have a nice comfortable rug. It is better if it is easy to clean and maintain, because it might get messy and you don't want to constantly tell them to be careful in their own play space. So we have a play mat that we've been using for more than 3 years and it has been working great for us. I think it's helpful if this central area is completely neutral or has very few patterns if possible, so that it's not overstimulating or distracting for them. And this is the area where they're going to dump all their blocks and build something new, or bring a bunch of pillows and start building a fort. Second is the physical play space. Now, kids need to move their bodies, and ideally this should be done outdoors as much as possible. But even if you've spent a few hours outside, kids still need to move their bodies when they're at home, and this should be done freely without having it to be scheduled. So if my son wants an outlet to move his body, there has to be a provision for him in his space so that he doesn't feel curtailed, right? So for us, his play space is our living space, so he is free to use it as he wants, and I've made sure that it is mostly safe for him. If you have some extra space, it's amazing if you could dedicate some space to physical play. So you could have a few foam mats on the floor so that they don't hurt themselves, and a few things to climb on, like a pickler triangle is amazing. It encourages a lot of physical play as well as creative, imaginative play. You could have some things with wheels that they could climb on. Those things are excellent for gross motor skill development. But if you have a limited play space, you could still make it work like how we have. We have a little wobble board that we use all the time. We use it as a slide, as just as a roof for his pretend play, to rock on, to get balance. You could also have a balance board that is really good as well. We also have a little folding tunnel that we bring out once in a while, which helps him crawl and stuff. A set of nesting stools is also really great. It can be multi-purpose because you can use it to create different obstacle courses and different things, and then put it away once you're done. So ideally they should be able to get an opportunity to move their body by climbing, crawling, jumping, bouncing, balancing, and if possible swinging and sliding as well. You could take as much of it outdoors as possible, but then there also has to be some kind of physical outlet in your home as well. Next is a space for imaginative play or creating small worlds, and this is my son's favorite. He could pretend play anywhere for hours, but there are certain things that assist in his creativity. The first thing is having a few low surfaces. So these could be the tops of some shelves that are empty and where they can build on. They should be at, the height of their elbow. If you have the space for it, I really love those Waldorf play arches or the play frames. They lend themselves to all kinds of imaginative play, and they're a great way to demarcate their pretend play in your home. But if you don't have the space for it, we have a couple of low shelves that have, cubbies underneath where we store his toys, but the top surface is for him to create his worlds. I sometimes use the top of his shelves to display something that I want him to explore, like a new toy or a new way of playing with an old set of toys, or something to inspire his curiosity. And if some friends are coming over, we'll put some toys on there to display for them to play with. But otherwise, his space is mostly his own, so he'll use it the way he wants to. And under the shelf, under the top of the shelf, we have a few bins with small creatures which he can use to come up with his own, play worlds. This small world play is extremely important for them to make sense of their the world that they live in by, projecting their emotions to these little creatures, making them interact in different ways. And to aid in this, we can provide them some small peg dolls or animal figurines, or some open-ended logs or planks, or little things that they can use as a frame for their worlds. Our favorite thing to do is collect those big boxes that come in the mail. Those have become spaceships, boats, caves, burrows, and he comes up with something new every day. So it doesn't have to be something that is permanent. You can always, so what we do is, behind the sofa there's a ton of cardboard boxes that we have folded up. He pulls one out in whichever size he wants, and he makes a world out of it, and then once he's done, he puts it away. Sometimes he's a little bit reluctant to let go of it because he's built it with so much love. In that case, we will let it be outside for a couple of days until his interest in it has kind of waned, and then we'll move on to some other things and put that away. Fourth play zone that I want to talk about is an area for messy exploration, like sensory play or art or anything that they can get their hands into, and maybe even feet. We take a lot of our messy play outside. So I have a small table and a chair set up for him where he does his art, or any kind of messy thing like finger painting, or anything that I want him to be free with and not worry too much about the rules of making a mess. I like to take it outdoors if the weather permits. If you have a larger space, it would be great to have a designated area just for art and messy play and sensory exploration. And if you do plan on having an art station, you could have a few art supplies easy to access depending on what age they are and what's appropriate for them. You could have some sensory bins as well, with things like kinetic sand, play foam, water beads, rice and beans or pasta, and things that they've collected from outdoors as well, like pine cones, leaves, sticks and rocks and pebbles, shells. Since I don't have the space to put them all out in a separate area, I usually put away all of the sensory bins except one or two. So kinetic sand is something that he always has access to, and since it's winter time, we also have a tub full of artificial snow that he can create Arctic worlds with, and also some play foam, some water beads and stuff that we put away and take out once in a while to play with. So messy play and sensory play can be done even if the space is limited. And last but perhaps very important is some space for quiet time. There comes a point in every child's play where they need some downtime, and their environment should be such that they have space to kind of retreat and relax and gather their thoughts before they jump into some other thing again. This could be as simple as a little nook with a couple of cushions and a few toys and a few books handy, or you could have a little teepee or a tent in the corner with a small bookshelf and a basket with some cuddly toys, some hand and finger puppets and some play silks. The lesser stimulation there is, the better it is in a quiet zone. It might even be a little boring, and being bored is not such a bad thing. In fact, it's a very important aspect of play as well. And of course, these zones can overlap, and they should overlap because play is never restrictive, right? The only reason we think about this is to make sure that their needs during play are being met and we're not leaving something out, and they're allowed to flourish in whatever aspect they want to. Another thing to consider is how much time your child spends in this area. So if your child goes to a school or a daycare for most of the day, you might want to make your home even less stimulating, so that they are more grounded and they are able to rest their minds and their senses, because they've already been so stimulated the entire day. That might be a factor. My son has been home for the most part, especially in the last year, and so I wanted an environment that is balanced, where he can learn stuff, where he can be inquisitive and pick up things for himself, and also where he can be stress free and relax and do a lot of free play. And whether or not your child is going to school, you do not want to recreate a school-like environment at home. And I know as my son gets older, his play will grow and evolve with him, but his need for physical play, imaginative play, for messy play, and for some quiet time, all of these have remained the same, even though they evolve individually in different ways. So I thought I'd share this with you. And we love our space. We are blessed with the space that we have, and we have found ways to make it work for us. And I hope the same with you. And let me know in the comment section if I've left something out. If you can think of something, it would be so great. And I will see you in one of my next videos. Until then, take care. Bye.